Hello there. Right. So, yeah, today's gonna be a little sort of tier list stream and then playing some VARENA for a bit again afterwards. There's just been a wipe on it, so performance should be a bit better today as well. But it's probably going to be a little shorter than the other ones. But yeah, I'm going to go into the tier list first, and we'll see where we're at by the end of that. So, I'm gonna probably put the video as a regular upload on YouTube as well, in case people miss the stream. But here we go. Oh, wrong thing. Here. Alright, so before we go into it, I was gonna say it's gonna be sort of in the context of Arena is what I'm mostly considering this, but I'm going to talk about the differences I'd make when talking about in open world, because the main differences there is about the effectiveness of sort of move speed and healing. Like, move speed becomes a lot better open world, healing becomes worse because of consumables, and also in Arena you have perfectly rolled jewels, whereas that's not necessarily realistic. So I'll be placing these based on what I think for Arena PvP, but yeah, keep in mind it can shuffle a bit, and I'll talk about that for if it's a vastly different spell in open world context. But yeah, going through spell tree by spell tree, we've the past week been doing the streams of going through each tree one by one, so I've been playing a lot of these different spells, and I've got it in order here. So starting with Blood Tree, we've got Blood Fountain first of all, and this is one where it's definitely a lot better in Arena. Like I say, because of the healing's actually valuable there, but when taking salves and everything into consideration, it becomes like, it would be D tier if we're talking about open world, but in Arena it's good to the point where I'd almost say B tier, because this thing, although it's not ever giving you much damage, being able to out-sustain and playing passively with it, just doing damage through like weapons and everything slowly, it is really annoying to play against. And if you're not getting burst down by your opponent, you're basically just surviving infinitely just through the sustain of this. But the next spell, Blood Rage, does the same thing, but it gives all the buffs on top. It gives you a shield. This thing's broken, and it's good in open world as well. The only issue with it is that it's reliant on jewels. So before it gets jewels, it's not actually a brilliant spell. Like, it's sort of around B-ish for open world until then. But once you've got jewels for this, then it becomes really obnoxious. You've got a massive set of buffs it gives you. It can cleanse you, it gives you the shield, and being able to out-sustain people on Arena is just a very big deal. So just having that as a bonus on top of everything else, I think it's easily one of the best spells. Sanguine Coil, better than Blood Fountain for sure. This thing actually deals a decent amount of damage. You can play it with Scholar, and since this thing has multiple charges, the resets, like, you get them all the time. And as long as you're hitting them, like that's the difficult part. You need ways to actually combo into it, so you can do it out of a lot of different weapon skills though. Like, you can Greatsword Q into it, Macy into it, but just weaving them in is tricky when you're playing against counters and stuff, which you'll be seeing all the time. Okay, Shadow Bolt. This thing kind of sucks. It's pretty much just a worse Crystal Lance. It's a hard-hitting spell. You can play it on Scholar to hit for a lot, but since it doesn't offer any utility aside the damage, and it's hard to ever get hits of it. It's just not particularly worth taking over the other projectiles, which are a lot more spammable and just do a lot more. Bloodright. Bloodright, it's a counter, it's good. It got nerfed a lot in the recent balance patch. So yeah, I don't think it's it probably would have been in top tier previously if it was, if it didn't get as heavy nerfs, but after the nerfs it's got, it actually hurt quite hard. So yeah, this thing's definitely weaker than before. One sec, I'm just gonna mention the stream in VARENA as well quick. I just remembered I forgot to post it there too. Put it in PvP talk. Here we go. Right. Alright, so Crimson Beam. This thing's one of the best Scholar ults. It doesn't compete with the very best, because there's a lot of times where it's made a lot weaker as well. There's a lot of spells that really kind of screw it over, and there's a lot of ways to cancel it quickly. So you'll often get taken out of it before you can get full value. But when you do get full value, and especially in times where you're in a team fight where you can hit teammates as well, this thing's really good. And hitting through counters is a big bonus too. If it was triggering counters, then this thing will be useless, but being an AoE is what makes it so good alongside how hard it hits. But you'll never be taking this on Warrior or Rogue Blood. This is a Scholar only ult that puts it up here. It's also worth noting, in raids, it would be good if it wasn't for stairs, because the beam can't go upstairs annoyingly. But then we've got Heartstrike, the other Blood ult. Blood has two very good ultimates, and Heartstrike is just generically very good. It doesn't tend to do a huge amount of damage, but giving you a good amount of healing and a way to apply pressure, it's very solid to take on Rogue and Warrior especially, and isn't even particularly bad on Scholar, because there's nothing really wrong with this ult. This has always just been a very safe choice. The fact it's iframe as well gives you a good bailout if you've completely run out of other cooldowns. You can press this, you both get a healing reset, you reset neutral, you do good damage if it does land, and that's the thing as well, it's just super easy to land. Like, you shouldn't ever be missing a Heartstrike in a situation where you use it. It's either once they've burnt all cooldowns, or you have so many easy setups for it. So yeah, Heartstrike, I don't see a world where it's going to be below S tier in the way it works. It's just the most consistent ult you can have. Blood Dash, A tier. It's good value. Brute set especially, it heals for a ton. But that's the only downside. All it does is heal. It's a pretty obvious and honest dash with what it does. It was stronger in Gloomrot though, because every dash has the healing effect. Some of its value is a bit lost now, but it still does heal notably more than any of the other dashes. So it's not bad for that, but some of the other trees dashes, which you'll probably be able to guess, I will talk about later, they are, for the most part, better than Blood now. Aftershock. Once again, fight me and you'll see how Heartstrike is miserable. I can't hit anything to save my life. I mean, if you're missing Heartstrike, you just got to be patient with it. Oh, also, okay, talking about Heartstrike a little bit more quick. Something that a lot of people do, which is really annoying, is Heartstriking when they're at full health, which is it's such a waste. It's unbelievable. Like, so many people do it. Like, even many of the top players, you should just wait till you've lost health, because otherwise you're just losing like half the value that the ult gives you. So yeah, I don't know. Like, at least even if you've taken like 10% of your health or whatever, it's worth just getting some kind of healing from it rather than just throwing it out for no reason. Okay, but yeah, onto Chaos Tree Aftershock. Uh, Definitely a lot better as a scholar spell, that's for sure. And yeah, I'd say it's probably bordering on A tier, to be honest. Like, I'll see where it's looking with the other spells later on. Like, I might change stuff about a bit after seeing how things look. But Aftershock's pretty good. It's been made a lot faster now in 1.0. It hits decently hard when you're on Scholar, and when there's so many people using counters, this is just such a easy way to deal damage. The slow's super useful as well. Like, you set up the slow and then you can use that to pressure other stuff. Like, alongside just pairing it with a defensive, it's actually a really good spell for double offensive, because you use the Aftershock slow to line up a second ability, so you can play it with like Chaos Volley, Void, Crystal Lance Bat, like any of these kind of projectiles or AoEs. You could run it on Scholar, use it for the setup, and also with the jewel, the Agonizing Flame one, it's healing too. If you're applying Chaos through any other sources, which typically you will have at least one other Chaos source. So it's actually somewhat of a defensive as well, even. Hey, MG. Okay, Chaos Barrier. This is the prime Scholar defensive, and it's a good defensive in general. It's so hard it hits. Like, whenever it's charged up, this is a bigger reward than you get compared to pretty much anything else, especially when it's on Scholar. It's just a very strong CC. And also, the reason it's especially good for Scholar as well is the synergy it has with Scholar Reset / Bug, where you can get it charged up, do the recast, and the recast will also stun. Aftershock surprises me whenever I see it used, but and people give it credit for. Yeah, that's the thing. It's better than it's given credit for. Because the only thing that holds it back, it's sort of overshadowed a bit by Void, and it's somewhat reliant on jewels. Like, jewels make it a lot better. But yeah, once you have all the jewels for it, and when you're pairing it with something else that synergizes well, it's a good spell for sure. Chaos Volley, pretty straightforward spell. It's honest projectile with yeah, 2 casts. It's a Scholar spell. You wouldn't play this anywhere else. Like, it deals good damage if you've got the spell power, but it offers no utility aside from the damage, so Scholar only on playing this. But it's a solid, like, consistent damage option, so I don't think it's bad. It's not amazing either, though there are things that outclass it, but I think it's a good spell for improving, because you do have to win in a way that's very genuine whilst using this spell, so you can't really cheese people too hard with it. Okay, Power Surge, one of the strong physical buff spells. You have Blood Rage, then you have Surge. Surge is a bit more damage, but you don't get the sustain part of it. And the sustain is better than what the Power Surge gives you, so overall, Blood Rage is definitely better. On top of the fact that if you're in a team, then Blood Rage is buffing multiple targets, Power Surge buff is +1. So it's physical spell. Physical's the main meta right now, so it's high tier from that, but not quite on par with some of the others in S tier. Learned by OTP Chaos Volley Aegis. Yeah. Oh yeah. With Aegis as well, with the spell power duel, volleys can hit especially hard. think Surge has less animation cast time than Blood Rage. I'm not too sure actually. You might be right on that, but regardless, that's a very small kind of difference. I think I would happily have a longer cast time for the sake of the buffs that Blood Rage gives. It's just a lot more desirable than the buffs given by Power Surge. And both of these, they're pretty much pressed on cooldown, which is part of what makes them so good as well, because they're super easy to use. There's not much nuance in how you use them. You just press them once they're up to keep the buff up time as much as possible. It does by a slight bit. That's what makes that's like And to be fair, if you are playing very aggressively, kind of the Yumiko type style of play, I don't know if he still has this opinion. He's often said in the past that he prefers Power Surge, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's part of it, because a bit of a longer cast time would be a lot more noticeable if you're always in someone's face, as opposed to if you're kind of taking trades and sitting back, then the Blood Rage is way more effective at that. But yeah, I could maybe see the argument for Power Surge being better with aggressive play for that reason. Next is Void. Very beginner friendly spell. I know a lot of people use this. Once again, it's one that's like not particularly dual reliant, and because of its utility, it somewhat works with all blood types. I'd say it's best with Scholar still. It's incredibly obnoxious with for raid defense with Scholar, that's for sure. But I think because there is definitely counterplay for this. Like when you're on Rogue, this spell is really, it does not feel good. You shouldn't be able to hit a Void if someone's on Rogue Blood. So I don't think it's an S tier. I'd say it's comfortably A. It's popularity wise, it'd be close to S, but I think it's not as good as it is popular. So once you get jewels involved, the jewels aren't making it significantly better. So yeah, 8 A's as much as I'll give it. Merc Charge, on the other hand, easy S tier. This thing's very popular right now, and this wouldn't have been the case in the past, but with how fast Merc Charge is now, like a lot of the things you could get out of it with before now don't work. And you've got to be faster on reacting to it. And finally, the fact that the game's just more bursty. I'd say it's definitely better than Heartstrike now. This is completely fight winning. If you land one, if you're playing it in a team and can chain multiple together, it's super annoying as well, because you get hit by one, you get hit by the entire team's Merc Charges. So yeah, easy S tier on that, no question. Chaos Barrage, another, as with many ults, it's pretty much Scholar only that you'd play this. I'd say B, debatably C. Probably B, because the thing is, this one, it's like Beam, except for the fact that it's really ruined by counters. It's hard to play around counters with it. It does have some counterplay, because you can aim it into walls or nearby objects, and the AoEs can hit through counters. It does like a little splash damage as well, as long as you're not hitting them with the direct projectile. But yeah, when you can directly hit them with this, it's really packing a punch. So yeah, I'd say it's probably in B tier based on what I'm seeing so far. So it's decent ult, not the best, it's alright. And Veil of Chaos, easy S tier again. This thing's yeah. I mean, it speaks for itself. It's like it's got so much better as well, because the healing effect on this, it's so easy to hit. Yeah, during progression, as in with the Chaos Volley. Yeah, for sure. Like there's less ways to get out of it. Show Chaos Barrage. This has to be the best spell in the game. I showed it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's great until you're at the point where everyone's got a counter, everyone's got multiple iframes to get out of it, then it becomes worse. But yeah, early progression, it definitely is good, and especially when a teammate has Merc Charge, you follow up with Barrage. Like, it's an easy way to burst someone. I mean, you can do similar with 2 charges, but still, nothing wrong with Barrage there instead. But yeah, Chaos Dash doesn't rely on jewels at all. It's very, very easy to get the heal off. It has amazing neutral. The only downside whatsoever of it is the fact it's less of a reward for hitting it than the other dashes. Like, applying Ignite is pretty meaningless. But with all the other strengths of it, like that's completely fine. It's got the it's got a slightly longer cooldown too, but having 2 charges more than makes up for that. Are you rating the spells in general or in current meta? So I'm just talking about. So this list itself is gonna be the strength I think they are, like, in the context of Arena. So sort of a mix between kind of 1v1s, team fight, just their overall spot in the meta. So I'm talking a bit about the place I think they have in open world and if I think they're better or worse there. But this overall is Arena placements. You can miss the first auto on the first dash. Yeah, I think it's like, as long as you don't actually spend the auto, you can get the heal on the second one. I'm pretty sure how it works. But yeah, this thing's broken. It needs a lot more of a downside than just a second extra cooldown for this to not be outclassing pretty much every other dash. In fact, yeah, I'd say probably if we're gonna do ordered tiers, I think this is right up at the top because it's a big gap between other things. Okay. Oh wait, I was putting alts at the end. So let's move that. Oh wait, there we go. So Frost Tree. Starting with Cold Snap, one of the new counters, and yep, counters very popular for a reason right now. This one especially is busted. So yeah, it gets a lot better with jewels. It's good before it gets jewels though. It's a combo setup right from the get-go. A counter that goes into a full combo is really strong, and when you get the full jewel on this, where you have the charged with chill, the move speed, everything else, it's a really irritating spell to deal with. And if you are triggering it, then it's hard to ever deal any kind of perma damage. So you need to play really carefully around this. Like, with it being a counter that you have to trigger, there is counterplay, but the strength it gets when it does trigger is what makes it so hard. And I mean, there's a reason why the most popular combo right now is Blood Rage, Cold Snap, because these two as well, they're both giving shielding, they're both giving sustain, they both make it really hard for you to deal damage, and on top of that, any mistake that the opponent makes leads into a full combo with Spear Q. So it's just a very, very easy win condition to play around when you're running Rogue Blood or Warrior Blood. You just have really good neutral from having this as a constant threat. And you can play either aggressive or passive, and these spells are always just going to be really broken. So yeah, it's an easy S tier for Cold Snap. Crystal Lance, one of my favourites. It's definitely more of a scholar spell. It somewhat has a place with other bloods because you can lead it into a weapon combo, but I think it's at its strongest when it's played with Scholar Blood, and it's certainly one of the most premium projectiles, and what it does, it's very good at it. So yeah, I'd say A tier, just below sort of Chaos Barrier for this is a reasonable placement. You get very big combos if you ever get resets. Frost Barrier, I've heard takes that it's stronger than Chaos Barrier. I disagree. It's a lot less threatening most of the time. The only time where this thing truly feels scary is if you spear Q into it, which you really shouldn't be doing. But barriers, they have the upside of longer uptime, but their downside of like just not giving as much value. And there are a lot of ways to just cross it up and bully it, like whip Q, especially, is just such an easy way to play around barriers. That yeah, it doesn't keep up with some of the other defensives, so it's not bad still. You can miss chaos though, so it's you can definitely the fact that the I mean the projectile from the chaos barrier, most of the time you won't get the hit from it, but when you do get the hit, it is typically a much bigger punish than it will be from the frost barrier freeze. I think there's definitely argument for frost barrier to be up in A tier as well. I think it's a bit weaker overall. Chaos barrier for sure stronger. The damage is way more and easier to hit. Plus gate. Yeah, true. Not sharing a DR with anything is actually huge. Like if you're running any other frost spells, you have to really take into consideration diminishing returns when you're doing your combos. It makes it very tricky to do follow-ups once they start getting stacked too highly. And with these kind of tankier builds of Blood Rage and such, it's pretty optimal to just straight up tank combos and get yourself DR stacked to the point where you're just not really taking CC from it. Like if they don't get the damage to outright kill you by the time the diminishing returns are stacked, then you're in a really bad spot if the opponent is frost immune and you're trying to freeze them. The 450 crit with Chaos Barrier, yeah. Oh yeah. That's a bit because the frost barrier you can full spear Q into it and get nuked, but the same thing if it happens with Chaos Barrier, and that's the thing as well. In 2v2s and everything, Chaos Barrier becomes a lot better because you can charge it from their teammate, and then you throw it away to the side, and you'll be hitting their teammate with it. They're usually not be expecting that because it's just a random projectile coming out of nowhere. You'll often just outright nuke them if you get that. Frost Barrier feels way worse than Gloomrot, and yeah, I think there's very good reason for that. I think almost more than anything else, the fact that Rogue Blood is so popular now, like Rogue Blood laughs in the face of Frostbite. Like you can hit into it, you're never gonna get hit at range. By the like you're too fast to be hit. Like you don't even have to be scared of proccing this defensive because like even melee range as well. You can be like doing an attack into it, and you're like, oh wait, I don't get punished. So yeah, move speed's everywhere. Like it becomes better once your versus sort of lower move speed. Like if you're against a warrior, then you'll get these hits a lot more consistently. But yeah, so much of the time Frost Barrier does nothing, and it's kind of sad. Moving on to Frostbat, another projectile that's like very honest. I think is like personally, I think it's one of the most balanced spells in the game. It's pretty good for improving as well. In the same vein as Chaos Volley. It's like one of the old school meta spells where you get a freeze combo, you just do like Axie, Spear Q, just a standard. And this one's actually very flexible as well, because Frost is a sort of hybrid build where you get a spell combo into a physical combo. You can play this with any blood type. You can play it Rogue, you can play it Warrior, you can play it Scholar. With the difference being, with Scholar you'll focus on hitting bats more after freeze, just throwing more bats. And physical, you'll just do the standard Spear Q combos, like for pretty much every finish if you can. But yeah, this spell, it's not really gotten weaker or stronger particularly. It's just kind of been power creeped by other builds. And it was actually benefited a lot in the recent patch. I think it's got a 10% spell buff, which definitely has felt noticeable if you're playing it with Scholar for sure. But yeah, still, in the state of the current meta, it's not the easiest thing to use. Especially like playing into the double defense, it's hard to find opportunities to get projectile casts off. So you're going to need to be like bait casting it pretty much all the time before you can actually throw one. But with a passive playstyle, if you're playing max range, Frostbat does have better neutral than most other spells. It just becomes quite weak once they get up in your face. Then on to Frost Nova. It's one of the better AoEs. Once again, Scholar Blood makes it a lot better. This thing actually double dips into Scholar Blood, because you can, if you have the recast duel, then you get to use it twice if you're on Scholar. So every time you get a reset, you get 2 casts rather than 1. And it hits really hard if you've got the max roll duels for damage for Frozen and everything. And decent for raid defense spam. Yeah, bat crits for 180s. Yeah, exactly. Like, the crits on bat are actually really significant when you've got full spell power buffs. Hey, Callista, how's it going? Alright, on to Arctic Leap. So, this one, ironically, it is worst when it's played together with Frost. It used to be, like, a dream combo with Frost, but because of diminishing returns, this thing's become way worse playing together with Frost, but it sets up combos really consistently with Scholar. This is another one where you would typically use it on Scholar. It somewhat works on physical builds, but you may as well just be playing Merc Charge, because it's a lower reward ult than Merc Charge. It's more reliable, but the amount of trade-off from Merc Charge, if you're playing physical, you'd rather have that. If you're on Scholar, though, the reliabilities may be better. This is the one I always play with the Crystal Lance Chaos Barrier setup, because unlike other things, sort of Beam, where the damage of it will really vary if you're playing something like Beam or the Chaos Barrage. If you're playing Arctic Leap, you will always be able to get at least decent amount of damage from it. You are still reliant on it getting the crit, because the damage difference is wildly different based on if you get the crit or not. But the fact that you'll always get at least some damage, and you'll always get the follow-up afterwards, is what helps out. On top of everything else, it can be used defensively, because it gives you a sort of jump in the air iframe. You can use it to get out in the worst case scenario. It's the only refreezes. Yeah, true. It is the only one that does a refreeze. It used to be a bit inconsistent with interactions like that, but they've just made it consistently across the board now that you don't refreeze frozen targets. But yeah, Arctic Leap breaking that rule is nice, because it'd be pretty bad without it. I'm not sure if I'd be playing it with Crystal Lance if it didn't have that. Can you still Arctic Leap a Merc Charge in Gloom it was possible? So yeah, that's actually one of the ways it was nerfed. So Arctic Leap, it used to be one of the biggest Merc Charge counters. Because you'd get Merc Charge and you would always be able to leap to get out of it, even if you've used all your other iframes. But the Merc Charge is so fast now that the Arctic Leap will get caught during the startup. There is no way to get Arctic Leap off. We were trying to test this, because yeah, I was curious about that as well. But yeah, Arctic Leap does not have that going for it anymore, unfortunately. You have to either Pistol-y or dash to get out of Merc Charge. You can't do like Aegis or anything either anymore. It's too fast to hit anything that isn't one of the like immediate iframes. Right. Although Ice Block, yeah, speaking of which, with getting out of Merc Charge, you can't reactively Ice Block yourself to get out of Merc Charge. But you can if you preempt it. And this spell's a weird one. I think it's better in Arena than Open World. I think Open World you just wouldn't want to use this. I think it's pretty much bottom tier. but I think it kind of has a spot in Arena. I'd say probably not quite B. B tier would be being generous. Um, but yeah, I've been using it a bit. In the games I had it this week, it felt pretty fine, to be honest. Like it's not as big of a swing as the other ultis are. But just for a bit of a kind of safety cushion, and you get a bit of a heal, it's not completely useless. And I think it actually becomes decent in 2v2s. It can properly save a teammate if you're on Scholar, and it makes the shield a bit bigger. But at the same time, why do that when you can have something like Crimson Beam, which is just a way bigger swing than Ice Block would be? The shield on Ice Block's too low. Exactly. That is the trouble. The shield isn't significant enough to the point where you'll often just have it broken out of like really early before you even get the full heal off. It's worth noting it does a bit of damage as well. You can often get it hitting like over 100 if you're using it like as they're aggressing on you. But getting around 100 damage for a hitting ult is not anything to write home about. So yeah, that certainly doesn't make it good. It's borderline usable in team fights. There's better options, but it's fun. It's you can use it if you want. You're not completely trolling by using it, so yeah, it's whatever. Frost Dash, another one of the premium dashes. Not quite. Oh wait. Timmy says no freeze now. It's just so bad. Yeah. To be fair, if it was doing freezes instead of just the damage over time, and yeah, if it had some significant damage whatsoever, then yeah, it would actually be a threat at that point. That's the trouble. It's just it's a non-threat right now. You don't really care if someone sat in an ice block. You're like, your first reaction when you see it is, oh, they have that ult? Okay. You're just kind of confused. But it's not really ever feeling like it gets a huge amount of value. But yeah, Frost Dash. The other top tier dash for sure. And yeah, Chaos Dash in general is better overall. Yeah, low asphalt. Yeah, exactly. Anyone know? Then Legend Axie. I'm not sure what's more damage out of Artifact Axie, Spear Q, or Reaper E, Spear Q. I would have thought maybe Artifact Axe, but yeah, I'm not actually sure on that. Yeah, Frost Dash's main strength is its interaction with Cold Snap. Because you get Cold Snap charge, you then dash in with Frost Dash, you immediately freeze them, and this is so much pressure to deal with during fights. Like Jules especially, like this one, it maybe, I don't think it quite drops to A, but it gets worse than Chaos Dash for sure in open world. In Arena though, it's pretty much on par with Chaos Dash, if not better, when you're running Cold Snap. Because getting the big old shield afterwards lets you trade aggressively really well, and whenever you're running it with insta-freeze, then the other person has to be so careful of it. I know what some people do as well. If you run Frost Dash with Elude duration, meaning like the little illusion sticks around longer, it also means that you have the charged weapon attack for longer, which makes it long enough to actually just wait out counters. And that's a lot bigger of a difference compared to just having, oh, it's a bit of extra damage or whatever. Like, that's so hard to avoid the Frost Dash when you're running Elude duration as well. Yeah, this thing's busted. If they just... Honestly, I think the shielding should be kind of lower or lower duration, and there shouldn't be the insta-freeze interaction, because yeah, right now, these two are both too strong. They are noticeably better than the other dashes. Corrupt's easy. Yeah, this thing sucks. It's awful. Yeah, no other way around it. It's a lower damage projectile than the others. It spawns a skeleton that triggers counters. The jewels it has for like exploding skeletons and that like they barely ever hit for anything. Like once in a blue moon, you'll explode a ton of skellies, and you'll deal a mediocre amount of damage. But yeah, this thing is dreadful. And I'll just spoil it now. I think it's the worst thing in the game, completely uncontested. So yeah, don't play this. I wish I could play this. It was at least a little better in Gloomrot. It was borderline playable. You had like Agony Burn. You had the kind of the split effect, which just made it super easy to zone with, playing it with the knockback as well. But there just isn't a good way to play this spell anymore. It's just completely outclassed by everything else, and projectiles are already probably the weakest kind of spell class right now. So being the worst among one of the worst spell types, and Scholar Blood can't carry it in any capacity whatsoever, it's just, yeah, terrible. Don't play it. Or you can play it PvE. It's fun for PvE. I like it there. PvP, don't do that to yourself. Soulburn, on the other, this thing is very good. Top of A tier, I'd say for sure. If we're talking open world, I genuinely think this thing's like well up in S tier, probably just below kind of Cold Snap S tier. Because just being able to negate counters when everyone is running counters right now, that's a big deal. And also open world, it has the advantage of not being dual reliant. Like the duels it has aren't a big impact. But yeah, the only downside is having to get in melee range. But when you have Rogue Blood to help you out with that right now, it's not too hard. Skeletoning Blood, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Them hitting Cold Snap, it's like, yeah, you always have to be careful with the skellies. But, yeah, Soulburn, this is the main, like, premium spell of the Unholy tree. Like, I've said before how Unholy has a lot of bad spells, and Soulburn is the only one that redeems it, because it's good against the meta. The Unholy debuff itself, the damage amp from that, is really nice. And yeah, the spell just doesn't have much counterplay. If you know how to abuse using Soulburn, it becomes very, very tricky for people to win interactions against you without just running away and camping. Soulburn insane for sure. Yeah, the jank of it's one of the advantages too. There are like the counterplay to it's pretty obvious. Aside from the running away, you have the just wait out the spell block to not get silenced. But yeah, combined with the jank, that can make it quite difficult. And last thing I'll say about the spell as well, playing it in team fights, it becomes considerably better, because 2v1 situations becomes an almost guaranteed win. It's super hard to win that if you're outnumbered playing versus a Soulburn. And also just any kind of combos that your teammates gets, you just extend that CC with Soulburn. So like the more people that have Soulburn, like the more times you get Soulburn. Like there are some situations where you can't even play the game in anything up from like a 2v2 combo can easily kill you if both players have Soulburn. Then it extends the combo so much that you're not able to play for a very long time. Ward of the Damned. Also very bad. I'm debating between like D and bottom of C tier, because it somewhat has ways to make it work. Like, it isn't dreadful as a defensive option. I mean, in the first VARENA tournament, I was actually trying to make this work together with Cyclone, because it somewhat deals with its weaknesses by being able to cancel defenses with the Cyclone. The skellies is still the big downside of it. If it wasn't for the skeletons, then this thing actually has a good amount going for it, because even though it's less punishing to hit into than the other barriers, but it's so much keep away and defensive pressure that's like its big advantage. Like being able to just push away with the recast, getting the Unholy debuff for the increased damage. Like you can play it together with things like Chaos Volley, with Cyclone. I think Oh, actually, there's the Sanguine Coil combo with it as well, so you can kind of play it with that as well. That's quite a funny one. But yeah, overall it is one of the weakest defenses just because of the fact it's spawning skellies, which makes your game plan difficult. Bone Explosion. Uh, you can buff your skellies for 8 seconds with the recast. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, it's a shame because those those kind of like ideas with the jewels, they sound fun on paper. If it wasn't how like diabolically bad they are, I think all the Ward of the Damned would need to actually make it half decent is the exploding Skelly's jewel that Corrupted Skull have. If Ward of the Damned could pop its own Skellies, then that would single-handedly make it fine because it would be able to bait counters. In fact, because you'll have Skelly spawn, and then you'd just be able to explode them as they try and respond to it. I forgot to mention that it lost its one Gloomrot usage, which made it sort of like upper mid tier in Gloomrot, where it could just straight up cancel defenses with the knockback. But yeah, that's gone. So that's the main thing that's tanked it. But I think even with that gone, I don't think it's quite in D tier. So I'll put it in C still. Quite dual reliant though. So I think yeah, open world aside it's being strong in PvE, PvP it's D tier. Bone Explosion. It's good damage, but a AoE that doesn't really have utility that matches up to the other things, because Aftershock has its slow, Nova has its freezes and its double cast, Void has multiple charges, and the suck-in, like, Bone Explosion doesn't have anything like that going for it. It's just a straight up bit of damage that won't often land. You need a kind of second spell follow-up to make it work. The only thing where it is really good is the Spear Q combo you get with this is so much damage. So if you do manage to land like a slashering cap, then honestly you'd be very happy having this one. But it's so few and far between that you get opportunities to combo into it that you'd rather just play one of the more kind of spammy high utility AoEs if you're going to run an AoE spell. Speaking of spammy, Death Knight. This is a weird one. So it has its very obnoxious spot in raid defense being played with Scholar, because these things just stick around and they're really annoying. Once again, with all Skellies though, they're triggering counters a lot, and having this in a duel, like a 1v1 or in team fights, just proccing every single counter, it's rough. Like, you can win with it if you get lucky enough. You get a ton of recasts and get a big combo, then this thing can just outright nuke people occasionally. But it doesn't happen often, and most of the time you'll be playing into something like the Cold Snap Blood Rage. You'll be triggering every single Cold Snap, and they're so tanky that they can just like eat the damage the entire time as they run you down. Because that's the thing. This spell, it is actually good if you're in a passive fight and you're camping the other person. But as soon as things get aggressive and you're getting run down, then the Death Knights are doing more harm than good. Yeah, that's very worth noting. Get spooked. So yeah, going back to talk about Explosion a little. Yeah, AoEs as a whole, but Bone Explosion especially, before people get the iframes, it is very good in tier 1 progression. So yeah, tier 1 progression is actually like a high tier spell. But later on, yeah, as people get more move speed, they get more ways to dodge. And the jewels for it are okay, but nothing to write home about. It certainly falls off later on. But yeah, early progression, Bone Explosion is a very, very good spell. So feel free to use it there because it's great. And also worth noting, the Unholy tier 1 point, it's between Bone Explosion, Ward of the Damned, and Corrupted Skull. All these spells suck, so if you're gonna get an early tier 1 spell point, like if playing the AoE of Ice Nova, it's competing with Frostbat and Cold Snap, and you'll pretty much always want to take Cold Snap, right? So you wouldn't tend to take Ice Nova in Tier 1, but with Bone Explosion being uncontested, it actually fits quite well into Tier 1 progression. Yeah, as for Death Knight, yeah, spammy spell, good for raids, but rough to play in duels. It's easy to use, but easy doesn't mean good. Just, I would not recommend playing it. It doesn't help you improve either. And Skelly Army, yep, yeah, it's bad. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Skeletons are bad in PvP. That's the common narrative, and it remains true for the ulti. Having a ton of skellies, there are rare moments when you have like all the mages hitting someone, it deals good damage. But more often than not, you'll actually just heal them from the skeletons being around, rather than dealing damage with the salt. So it's not good. Spiders, on the other hand, though, this is a very interesting ulti. I think it's tricky to know where to place it, because obviously there's a one-shot combo it has, and it's also just quite good when playing at high pressure with Rogue. So I would say overall, because it's similar kind of risk reward to Beam, where there are times where it can do nothing, but there are also times where you can just straight up blow someone up with it. So I would probably place it around the same as Beam because of that. I think the only difference is, I'd say Spider is more consistent for comboing in 1v1s, but loses some value in team fights, whereas Beam, you'll often get more value in team fights, but it's harder to play a 1v1 without getting it cancelled early. So yeah, they're on a pretty similar power level overall. And with the one-shot combo, that's when Spider is at its best. But yeah, playing it in general with just freezes in caps, just pressuring them with Rogue, because that's you can just use it to blow cooldowns, which in itself is strong. It didn't used to be good for this before, because you had a few charges and then it'd be gone. But now it's a case of you place it down and then you play together with it. And on top of that, it's got the two sets of spiders. So even if the first explosion misses, you're not too sad about it, because you're still then just using the follow-up, the 3 mini spiders, to just continue pressuring. So it's actually a really interesting one to use. I think the new design it has is a lot of fun. And yeah, it's not bad either. So in a good spot. Hate it. Unholy Dash, it's pretty bad as well. Spawns a skeleton. It lost the execute damage it had in Gloomrot. That's the one thing it had going for it. Like, you used to kind of have a use for it. You'd play it with full physical buffs and rogue blood, and you could splat people that were low health. But the execute damage, you have it on a duel, but even then, it's just not noticeable, the damage this thing does. And aside from that, you just have it spawning skeleton. So when you could be playing a dash like Frost or Chaos, there is no reason ever to play a dash that gives you something that's actually detrimental. So yeah, this thing's an easy D tier. Mistrance. So it is a counter. Counters are good. This one doesn't directly deal damage in the same way as others. It has the strongest thing it has going for it. The mobility it gives you is big, and then also you have the interactions where you can get like double spear Q off is really punishing. The only annoying thing about that is it's weird in how the cooldown reset works, where it just sometimes doesn't work properly. So I'm debating between bottom of A tier and top of B tier for this. The only thing you need for it duel wise is the fear for it to be good. So if you rolled that in open world, then yeah, I'd certainly happily take this for the sake of good mobility and escaping. and getting a nice reliable combo. But I think, yeah, with the lack of damage it has compared to the other counters, I would put it a bit weaker because, I mean, people are running Rogue Blood anyway. They have plenty of mobility. I think you'd rather have things that actually help you sustain or damage, rather than even more mobility on top of having Rogue and everything. Right. Mosquito. This thing's certainly a arena spell. It's at home in arena. It's oh wait, one more thing about Mistrance from Arc Paladin. Mistrance 2 dual reliant. Without fear and reset, it's so bad. Yeah, true. Yeah, that's the thing. Ideally, you would want the reset as well. So yeah, that doesn't help its case at all. But yeah, even with its duels, I'd say I prefer all the other counters over it for sure. But yeah, Mosquito, most at home in arena. Um, in open world, this thing loses the value of its healing, and the combos it has is less reliable. So I'd be moving it down quite a lot for open world. But arena context, this thing is super annoying to fight. So it enables the one-shot spider combo for one. It gives endless sustain, so it's good with all blood types. You can play it Scholar for the nuke combos. You can play it Warrior and Rogue for the sustain. So it's a bit of a awkward and obnoxious playstyle to use this. But it's very good. And also, this has a, like, all AoEs, you have the standard kind of in-cap or whatever, and then you do AoE Spear Q. The nice thing about Mosquito, compared to other AoEs for this, is the fear lines up perfectly with the Spear Q. So instead of doing Spear Q recast, you wait out the fear, and then you get an extra auto afterwards. The only trouble with fear as a CC is it overlaps with the crossbow, which is very, very common in arena, and if you're wasting DRs on the other fears, then sometimes you can miss combos because of that. You can place down a Mosquito between Merc Charge hit and stun. Oh yeah. Wait. I don't, because you can't stun them into your own Mosquito though, can you? Oh, sorry. I see what you mean. So yeah, when they Merc Charge you, you can get yourself out of it, right? That's what you're talking about. Because yeah, that's certainly a strength fit as well. I've noticed that there are a lot of spells in this game that sort of act as a pseudo defensive and offensive, and Mosquito's definitely one of these, because it gives you the offensive pressure of the fears and the AoE hit after Spear Q, like all of that. But the fact it's giving you the shielding, the healing, and it's a combo break. Like if you place down in situations, yeah. Oh, there you go. It was that one you're talking about. So yeah, such as getting Merc Charge. Then yeah, there's just so many bits of utility this gives you. And yeah, a lot of that would be wasted in open world. Like if people see a Mosquito, they just won't approach. Like it's easy to run away from, and the healing doesn't matter as much. But in arena where you're forced to fight into this thing, it becomes a lot stronger. Aegis. So the absolute terror of Gloomrot. I still think it is either top of A tier. I would argue, though, actually, it is just about breaking into S tier. Reason for this being, so you have the double defense combos of like the double counter and such. I think the version with Aegis is stronger. And the reason for that is having one counter is so much defensive pressure already, and then Aegis gets rid of the weakness of people being able to just sword Q you, use AoEs on you. This means you have defensive uptime against anything, whereas if you're running, say, the Cold Snap Discharge, you're still able to get damage through sword Qs and AoEs. Like, your defensive uptime is more punishing. like when people are hitting into the counters. So Aegis isn't as much damage, it's not like as much for punish. But when someone knows how to play against this, or play with this well, you have like the knockback, you have the cleanse, like it's just so hard to find an opening that this spell just has like ridiculously good neutral, and you're just stupidly tanky whilst you run it. On top of that, you go into team fights, it's a save for teammates as well, it's got that added utility, but even in 1v1s, I think that it's like a very top tier spell. So even the nerfs it got to its uptime, it's not much weaker than it was before. And yeah, I think in its current state, its current design, it competes with the best just because it has good matchups. Going on to Spectral Wolf. So this thing, I would have put it C before, but the buff this thing got in the patch was actually pretty big. It got a 15% damage buff. So it kind of has use with Scholar. It sort of trades some of the damage you'll have with Frostbat or Chaos Barrage. It definitely doesn't have as much damage. But it trades that for the healing and the slow. I don't think it's quite as good because of that. The bounce as well, of course. So in team fights it becomes a bit better. Versus summons, not that you particularly need a good matchup versus summons. Like, you have enough stuff for that already. I guess the only one where it is notable is when people are running Mosquito. That actually is a noteworthy summon where it becomes much better against it. But in general, it is weaker than a lot of the other projectile spells. When it gets the multi-bounces, this thing feels amazing to use though. When it gets like its full value off, it's brilliant. But when you're stuck in a 1v1 with it, it's quite tricky to actually deal good damage. Like I'd say maybe it's best either played with Chaos Barrier or played double offensive with something that helps its follow-up. But if you're playing it with something that's low damage, like I was trying to play it with Mistrance, that's not easy because you just don't have many ways to actually deal a good amount that can't be healed back. And that's what's important right now. With the amount of healing in the game, you want things that can trade damage in a way that's significant enough to not be healed back. And just getting random poke with Spectral Wolf, you're not really going to get that off. So having the just raw big crits of Chaos Volley or like the full combo setups of Frostbat, that just makes those spells edge out the Spectral Wolf because you want to be able to do that perma damage. Okay, Wraith Spear, everyone's favourite little Callista projectile. Sadly, the design's fun, but you can't bait cast this thing. There's a bug with it so that you can't interrupt it or you'll put it on double the cooldown. The only time I think it has a bit of a gimmick is double offensive. You can kind of use it there just as like another one of these kind of semi-defensive spells. You just use it for the mobility. But even then, you'd rather have a traditional defensive or a better double offensive spell than running this because not being able to bait cast this is just what gives it all its problems. And also, considering when you're playing against rogues all the time, you're not going to be able to run away from them just because you have a little extra dash from Wraith Spear. They're going to be able to run you down still. So you'd rather have like actual hard, scary defensives such as the Chaos Barrier, which actually apply pressure, as opposed to this, where they're like, oh, you've dashed away slightly, but I'm still going to run you down. Early game movement and piercing through trees. Yeah, I can't say I've actually seen the open world use for this much. I could maybe see it being a little better for what, once again, with the fact that mobility does get buffed in open world with it having the extra importance. I could see it maybe being a little better there. However, yeah, it still has yeah, big glaring thing of hitting into counters just guaranteed. Like that ain't it. You don't want that. Golem. Um, I mean, yeah, it's kind of a similar spot to Ice Block. Really, it's sort of its value to more members, and it's like better uptime. It's definitely good, but not totally useless. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, early game there's just like there's less ways to dodge as well, which helps it out. But yeah, Golem. So it gives you a bit of a sort of buffer period, which like helps to stop you being burst. Um, I'd say it probably does a slightly better job of it overall than Ice Block. So could maybe put it above with the trade-off of like not dealing any damage whatsoever. Like the golem technically hits people, but that's not actually dealing damage. So yeah, we'll write that off. But yeah, it's for the context of Arena, it's not great. It has a bit more use, open world for kind of raid defense and that sort of thing, keeping servants alive. But outside of that, yeah, you wouldn't typically want this in duels or team fights. You're just, yeah, once again, rather have a higher value ult. Wistar, this one's weird. So this is probably one of the hardest ults to use and get used to. But the people who can play it well have shown this to be really oppressive when it's played well. Like I was playing versus Chipser a lot with this. I know Yumiko was using it a decent amount as well. And when you see players like that using Whiff Stance with just like high pressure play, it's really hard to get away from. And it's sort of it's similar. It's similar to Heartstrike in a lot of ways, in the sense that it's a sort of defensive / offensive at the same time. It's just you're so tied in to having a high pressure aggro play style, to be using this well, that it makes it tricky to use. So I'd say it's probably B tier, but when this thing's used well, it feels like an A or S tier spell. It's just you're really tied into having a good kind of aggro play style to get good value from it. And otherwise, if you're playing safe, like the actual projectile cast, it's very rare it gets value from that. It's just a spinning round like bit where it's just they're running at you and you can't really do much against it. Yeah, that's the thing. I wasn't really thinking much of this spell, but I was having a really tricky time beating Chip. So when he is running the build with this, it's hard to play against for sure. Illusion Dash. Oh, I had an absolutely miserable time playing Illusion Dash this week on the Illusion only stream. It's partly from just Illusion Tree not synergizing well with each other, but this dash also it's miserable. It has way more application in open world. Like having the recast, there's just so much like trickery you can do with that. In an arena though, the recast isn't even useful because, especially on Rogue Blood, you can position in a way where you can punish the cast itself and the recast position at the same time. You're caught in like these catch-22 situations. So even though the dash is meant to be like this sort of gimmicky, like I can go all over the place and trick people, it doesn't matter because when people are fast enough to be able to punish any option you have, it's not actually good, to the point where Chaos Dash does everything Illusion Dash does, but it's so much better. And on top of everything else, you then have this stupid little illusion that spawns that hits every single counter, and playing like a neutral interaction where the other person knows that they can always hold their counter until the time where you dash, then they can immediately press counter. Like that is such a tricky situation to run into. The only thing going for illusion dash is jumping off a cliff where, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So open world, it has that gimmick. It has the escapes you can do from jumping down cliffs, and that is actually a genuinely strong use for getaways and stuff like that. That's big. But yeah, arena context, like you're not getting away from anyone with this, and the reward for hitting the dash auto is awful. You don't have much mobility from it because they can cover the recast, and you have the illusion to hit into counters. Like I'm tempted to put it D tier as well. Like it actually is like that bad. It makes me talk myself into wanting to put it D tier. Like it's certainly a bit better. Like open. Oh, also the fact in open worlds you have like raid offense. You can play aggressively with it, get out. I've seen people using it that way as well, which is quite good. But yeah, it doesn't have any of that niche. Veil of Illusion interactions against yeah. I've seen that. Yeah, it pulls the illusion in. It's quite weird. Yeah, this thing, it's bordering onto D tier. I think it's kind of getting away with murder not being in D tier. But so yeah, illusion's just not a good tree whatsoever. It's a shame as well because back when I was playing Fear Lance and Gloomrot, this was when I was like actually using this dash all the time because it had the really good synergy together with Aegis because you could use it as the illusion application to get fears off really consistently. But without that going for it anymore, it's just there's no reason why you would play it in an arena context now that Aegis Fear isn't a thing. Like you have the fear attached to the crossbow now, and there's much better ways than illusion dash to get that applied. You can just do like whip Q, greatsword Q, longbow Q, any of those are just 10 times better than illusion dash. There's no reason to play this. Yeah, almost. So. Yeah, honestly, I think it's close between illusion and unholy for sort of the worst tree, at least to play solo. But illusion definitely has more kind of good spells and mid-tier spells to the point where it's like just look at Unholy Tree. Like so much of the stuff is just right at the bottom of the barrel. It's only Soulburn and spiders that are good. But yeah, Cyclone, easy S tier, I think, on this. This thing's basically like the stronger Soulburn for the most part. The only thing Soulburn has over it is the application of the Unholy debuff is really good. And it's a lot harder to get that applied compared to static. And the fact that Soulburn's a kind of on-demand combo extension, whereas Cyclone, it's a random combo extension, but the thing is, this thing always pressures with you. You throw it out on cooldown, and it's just always constant pressure. And this thing was like a bottom tier spell before. The fact it hits through counters just single-handedly takes it from the bottom to the top, because it takes its worst matchups into being its best matchups, and it's super easy to use. It's super high pressure. I'd say, yeah, it's around the top. The only thing that weakens it a bit is spells like Blood Rage and Aegis can help to just stat check it, and also you have a bit of a dynamic where they don't really hit that hard unless you're Scholar. But getting in range as Scholar is then quite difficult. So you have to play this trade-off where it's a bit suboptimal for Rogue, but it's hard to always play the best way possible when you're on Scholar. So I think Scholar Cyclone overall is a bit better than Rogue Cyclone. But yeah, having that reliance on being close range is its main counterplay in Downfall. Can't believe Lightning... Yeah, the fact Curtain doesn't need to either is kind of insane. Like that used to be one of like the prime sort of counters for dealing with it before. Like I used it a lot during later stages of Gloomrot. And you did when you played it with the Ward of the Damned, you actually had like a lot of ways to deal with the counters, but the lightning curtain, you can't cancel a lightning curtain, so that was actually a much worse matchup than it would be playing versus something like Bloodright. So yeah, it's weird with the fact it's lower range now. It's sort of a nerf in some senses, but a buff as well because they kind of hit more frequently. It's like it's a very weird spell. Oh, also worth it, like the fact that this is another one where it's somewhat of a defensive because you are getting yourself like out of combos with it so often, to the point where Spear Q, you shouldn't press Spear Q versus a Soulburn player. Like you should pretty much always just Greatsword Q instead because it's just like a quick burst of damage rather than something that can be cancelled. And when you're stood still, like at that kind of range, that is just asking to be cancelled by Cyclone. So yeah, don't Spear Q versus Cyclone. End of story on that one. What is this a lot? I don't even know. I think whoever made this tier list, they for some reason they missed out Bone Explosion, and they just included this ult. So I'll put it here. It's out of the way. I'm not talking about the shard ults. I think because like if you have a shard, you'll just play it anyway, right? I think it's a bit of it'd be a bit of a different video completely to talk about the shard ults. Alright, so next, moving on to Ball Lightning. This thing's it's basically like Cyclone's little brother that's nowhere near as good, but fills a similar job. It wasn't old. No, that's the thing. It's got the new spell additions on here, so it's not outdated. It's just it's weird that it's on there. Draco in arena. Oh no, that'd be horrible. Yeah, Pool Lightning. It's the little brother of Cyclone. It's nowhere near as good, but it can fill the same job of cancelling defensives. I think this one, the damage most of the time is so pitiful. I don't really like it much on Scholar. I think it can be used as a sort of a gimmick for sort of rogue and warrior blood for dealing with the offensive spells. But yeah, it's worse than Cyclone and it's worse than Soulburn. The only thing it has going over it is it's really long range. Like that's the good part about it. It has long range, but the actual damage and pressure of it compared to these other two spells is a lot lower, which all in all makes it a weaker spell for sure. Alright, Discharge. The other, I mean, not new counter, but reworked counter. I'm kind of sad about this one because I liked the old Discharge design. But yeah, this new design is like it's super easy to use, and I think it's slightly worse than Cold Snap, but it is an S tier, easy S tier. It's very popular, and it's popular for good reason. Yeah, it's like the fact that these things just always like they do so much damage on top of giving you a combo. Like that's the difference with the new counters. With the old one, it's like Bloodright. It deals a lot of damage. It doesn't lead to a combo. Mistrance, it leads to a combo, but it doesn't deal damage. Both Cold Snap and Discharge, they deal damage and they lead to a combo, and that's like what leads to them being so strong, and that's why they're used all the time because they just completely power creep compared to the other spells and just do multiple jobs at once that they really shouldn't be allowed to do. So yeah, I don't like these spells both got nerfed a little bit in the recent balance patch, but certainly not enough to bring them in line. That's for sure. They are well at the top, regardless of the nerfs they got. They would need a lot more to actually like take them out of being top tier. All right. Next is Curtain, and then they don't even end at damage CC. Oh yeah, I mean yeah, that's okay, yeah, because that's kind of Cold Snap especially on that, to be fair. Like, yeah, it's a sort of utility in everything of what they give as well. And then I suppose the other like the other big plus of Discharge is the fact that you're getting the knockback, which deals with its own weakness. Like the fact that you have the main counter, or the counter that you always have to dealing with counters, is being able to sword Q it. But Discharge comes along. It's like, yeah, you can't even you can't even sword Q. Like the one weapon skill that you can do to hit through it, and you can't press it. Curtain S tier, no need to thank me. I don't know. Dog, can you not? So yeah, Curtain. I don't know. I think it got no. It's between S and A tier. I think because Curtain, the big plus of it does everything at once. Like this thing is the kind of it's an AoE spell, it's a damage spell, it's a defensive, it gives buffs, it does everything at once. And with high pressure play, it's like really good. It's basically like the thinking man's blood rage and power surge. Like this thing actually has a lot of like nuance and skill to its use. And when used properly, I think yeah, it definitely feels kind of on par with the things at the top. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's slightly worse than S tier still. I'd put it A, because especially right now, like a big thing that makes it feel weaker whenever it's getting whip spammed. Like Curtain's not helping you get through whip spam. It's not doing anything there. So it's so good for like long range pressure and just the amount of different things it does at once. But I think it's not quite strong enough, like for me to want to put it in the same spot as all of these spells. I don't know. So, lots of barking in the background. Polarity shift. Easily the best projectile spell. Whip is broken, which shouldn't go through curtain, to be fair. Oh yeah. Whip is very broken indeed. Like there's no reason why it should be doing that, but oh well. That's a whip issue. Whip discussion's a whole nother thing, but yeah, get that thing out of here. Right, one sec. Yeah, if it didn't, if it blocked whip, I would certainly put it in S tier because if it did that, then it would always give you so much pressure because you'd be having a little whip spam war with someone else. They'd like blood rage or whatever. You'd put down curtain, and they would be like charging your autos, and you'd just win that interaction. But yeah, with the fact that whip hits through it is a very big deal. Like it was a lot better before because pistol spam was so popular and is obviously like the biggest counter to pistols. But when a new weapon's released that makes pistols redundant and makes the whip autos take its place, it's a bit of a sad one for Curtain. Oh yeah, actually that's the main thing I want. I just want whip range to be like way lower, like kind of maybe just slightly longer than spear, but matching the range of pistols is just not okay. But yeah, on to Polarity. I think easily the best projectile. Not quite S tier, but yeah, this thing's just so much utility. And once again, it's sort of one of those spells where it feels like a defensive as well because of the amount of movement it gives you. You can play it in Scholar with like Void, Crystal Lance, just anything else and use this as your defensive with Cyclone as well, of course. You can play the Hot Biscuit style, playing it with Rogue Blood or Warrior. Like he's comboing that with Mistrance. Like that just gives you so much safety having that kind of thing. And on top of everything else, with how fast this projectile is, it makes you pretty much auto-win most kind of max range matchups. Like if you're playing control play versus control, where both players are being passive, then Polarity Shift wins out against almost everything. Like I'd say the only thing that like competes with it or beats it out at long range is Chaos Volley, Frost Barrier, Frostbat, and Chaos Volley, Chaos Barrier, Frostbat, and Frostbat. Like these spells can all compete with it long range, but Polarity Shift kind of about matches its power, whilst also being a kind of defensive and everything else. Like it makes it such a good spell. Not quite to the point of being S tier, because it's hard to use it effectively, and it doesn't have quite as much BS as a lot of the stuff up here. But it's got some really strong things going for it. I think very notably as well, some of the most threatening combos, such as a Greatsword Q combo start, this denies it all the time. Merc Charge, on top of having your usual iframes, you now have Polarity to get out as well. So it keeps you really safe against some of the most scary combo starters in the game. Because great sword combo start, people do that all the time. Like with it leading into the crossbowy and everything, and just leading into so much else. Like people always use that spell for the approaching. Void could be very good as well, but that's wait, Void could, oh yeah, as in competing with it. Yeah, Void definitely competes with it long range as well. I'd say so. On the same vein, like kind of Nova, but I don't know, Nova's not quite as good like for range spam as Void. It sort of makes up for it in different ways, but mostly its utility. Yeah, I think Void definitely competes. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that for sure. I think like Chaos Barrier Void, for example. I don't think there are many things, if any, that really beat that in max range play. I mean, it's a shame that there's no VOD for it anymore, but something I often like talk about for like being a really good showcase of passive play is the set of Pancake versus Biscuit, where Pancake uses the like Void Chaos Barrier combo, and it would pretty much be that kind of matchup again if those two were to play each other with the Polarity Mistrance versus the Void Chaos Barrier. It's like a very similar dynamic again, where I'm honestly like not sure who'd win that, because it's a very close skill matchup between the two. You put Mosquito in front of you. Oh yeah, that is a funny combo actually. Mosquito with Polarity, where you can like swap with your own Mosquito or get them to swap to yours. Like there's a lot of funny stuff with that. Shame it's a bit of a joke combo because it does no damage at all. Like both of these are like low damage utility offensives rather than like actual hard damage offensives, so they don't really combo amazingly together. But it is really funny getting the swap interfere. Alright, we're on to the Storm ults now, and the Spinny ult, the Octavian one, is it? This is, well, if you get the full value of this, you can sometimes just straight up just kill someone like full health. With just like maybe a couple more bits of damage alongside it. It's really funny how much this thing can do. The issue with it is, not only does it proc counters, which cancels it all of the time, it is procced by almost any kind of CC in the game. You can spear Q it, you can slasher incap it, you can macy it. Like all of these, just completely negate it, which just really sort of makes it unreliable. Um, Something that is annoying though, the artifact slashers, the ones that I use all the time. If you use that E to try and cancel it, the interrupt doesn't work versus this spell. So I did have fights where I got myself killed from using the wrong slasher in cap, and just doing the blood slasher interrupt, and yeah, eating the whole thing because of that. But this thing's just so inconsistent. Teammate Merc Charge plus Soulburn. Yeah, exactly. That's you do sometimes have moments where this thing completely pops off. I mean, with Scholar Blood especially, because you just have the high spell power. But yeah, I think all they need to do is make this thing either not proc counters or immune to more types of CC. But I don't. It's playing a risky game doing that, because this thing going into one-shot territory would be horrible. But you still got dashes and stuff. I don't know. It'd probably still be fine. But in its current state, this thing's just a bit of a joke ult. And the other lightning ult, this one's it's lower reward but a more consistent version of it. And you would only use it on Scholar, because it's just too low damage to justify having it on Rogue or Warrior. But there are times where you can make it do stuff. I prefer playing it over anything else on Cyclone, because it's just a really good synergy between the two. But yeah, sometimes this thing does less than 100 damage. And also something that's annoying is I don't know why it's like this, because Heartstrike gets an iframe on the initial dash. This thing doesn't. So you can get Polarity'd out of it. There's so many really annoying interactions where you just get denied from this. And this was, I'd say it is a bit better in Gloomrot, because of the fact that you could use it as a favourable counter to Heartstrike, because you could have the bad interact. If you do it at the same time, the Heartstrike crosses through you, and they win the interaction, you get nothing off, they get the Heartstrike. But if you use the Tempest afterwards, you dodge the pop, you're dealing damage, and you're pretty much always in a favourable position from that. That was its main use before, and even though it's got good damage now, with Merc Charge being more popular, I don't think it's as good as it was. Also, I just realised as well, the fact that Rogue's popular has made it a lot worse, because it's reliant on how fast the person can get out of it. And Rogue, even without dashes, you zip right out of it just from move speed. I always use it as Scholar for defensive. Yeah, that's it. It is it gives you a lot of defensive uptime as well, which is a nice part about it. But yeah, there are plenty of occasions where someone will just walk out of it quickly. They'll dash out of it if you mistime the cooldown. If there are any summons around, summons, funny enough, counter this ult. They completely split the damage and make it hit for nothing. That's a very rare circumstance, but versus Mosquito, it's very, very noticeable. So yeah, it's okay, but most of the time it won't get as much value as some of the better ones. And finally, we have Lightning Dash. And this one, I would say, is just a bit better than Blood Dash. So I'd put it up here. It's sort of, I think it was seeing a bit more popularity at the start of 1.0. It does give some really good rewards when you do hit it. Being able to stun into Spear Q is nice, and having the bonus attack speed is a really nice buff. But if you're going to run a high value dash, then you'd run Frost, and if you want a safe dash, you'd run Chaos. So it's hard to find a good use for Storm, where it's like it's not outclassed. So yeah, I do like playing with Cyclone though, with the interaction of you dash through them with Storm. You have Cyclones going off as well. It like you so consistently can get stuns off using that. Um, but yeah, still, people started to value the attack speed less over time and realize like, oh, the shielding's just way better. May as well play Frost. So that's the big part of it. Always use Scott. Oh yeah, I read that one. But yeah, that's the that is the list. I think I'm just having a quick look over it in case I would want to move anything. Now I'm pretty happy with all of those. So yeah, it's pretty obvious. Like I think anything sitting up here aside the ultis, like I think despite how strong they are, the ultis are like kind of balanced still. Maybe a size Merc charge. I think these could all very justifiably get nerfed. I'd never have a problem with Heartstrike just because it's like it's a good staple of the game. It's healthy, but everything else I think is too strong right now. And yeah, they're pretty oppressive to play against. Like the kind of difference between S tier and D tier spells in this game is phenomenal. Like it is borderline unplayable, some of the matchups. How do you rate the Shard ult? Would think they'd ever be usable. I mean, from the buffs alone, the Shard necklaces would be worth it in Arena as well for sure. Like I'd take any of the Shard necklaces over like even having an ulti. If I were to quickly rate the ults, like just the ults themselves, I'd say Winged Horror would easily be S tier. Dracula probably A tier because it's like it's so good when it goes off fully, but it has really bad matchups. Oh wait, I can't move this now. But it has really bad matchups. Which kind of take like if you have Dracula ult versus Lightning Curtain, then they just eat the entire thing. And a lot of the sort of barriers counters and stuff can just sort of outlast it. So it's a bit weaker. I think Winged Horror is the best one. The other two, you have Adam and Solaris. Adam would probably be the ult itself, kind of C tier. It rarely does anything. And Solaris probably C tier as well, because you can actually pressure with it, but it's still the fact that it's giving you a summon, which doesn't do much if they have counters. Red Twins E into Army of the Dead for free. Wait, which one's Red Twins again? I know it's one of the legendaries, right? But I've gone blank on the namings for it. Like, is that the Blood Slashers? Or I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, that's the list. Oh, the axes. Okay. Right. Oh god, my voice is going a little bit. But so, think with that that all done, I'm gonna swap over to V Rising. We'll play some arena for a bit. Probably won't be on for quite as long today, but I'll play some arena for sort of half an hour or so. Let's see who's online. Soulburn because Master Fang use it. True. You've got the OP interaction between. No. Oh god, once again, like the consumed skellies is just like another one of those things where you'd hope it's good just from like on paper, but unfortunately not. let's get the get music on background. Here we go. Oh, it's 30 people on, not bad. Good list. I like Blood Dash over Lightning, and Blood Fountain is obviously S tier. Yeah, Blood Fountain underrated in Arena. I think the thing is, you have to play it in such an annoying way to make it work. But it's not bad. If you do want to stall a fight out and annoy the other person, then it's actually good. Oh, I can finally play a mix of spell trees again. I am smiling. Yeah, the arena got reset, by the way, so it should hopefully be some better performance. Oh, thank you, Timmy. Yeah, from what you were saying about Blood Rage and stuff, it sounded like you were pretty aligned with my takes on the different spell balance. And I think almost everyone would agree on the counts and stuff, though. There's no hot takes on that at all. I think the only somewhat hot takes is like Blood Rage being better than the counters and Aegis being an S tier still. I don't know how many people would agree with that, but I certainly think that both those spells are really broken. Who's on? Nope. Anyone? Please. Nice. I'm seeing a lot of Aegis. Yeah, that's the thing, 'cause it deals with the weakness that counters have. So being able to use it well is like really big. Oh yeah, Geo, if you want to jump on, then that'd be good. I'll play a couple versus this guy in the meantime. Oh, wait that out. Oh my, that was a weird merc charge. I rate it. Oh, what? You're kidding me. I didn't quite get that in time. Whoops. Nice. And I can dodge this. Big. Charge. There we go. No Skull of Blood. I gotta play with Skull of Blood. Yeah, I'm doing that right now just to oh! Wait, I had the wrong spear on, that wouldn't have worked anyway. He had a chance to merc charge me there, if he had pressed it. Oh, okay. Damn. Raw Lance. Oh, okay. I'm new to the game, fully focusing on castle defense now. Do you think... Oh, I am not a good person to ask about like castle defense strats and stuff. I don't play much of that side of the game. I think have a look at Verdolt's channel, or try and ask him about it if you can, because he's got like really informative videos regarding raid stuff. Channel. yeah, it is funny because not many people use Blood Slasher E, or Blood Slasher, I mean. But whoa. Ah, no, I need to not press it there. But it's like it's so much better with Scholar than it is like the other Blood, so it kind of makes sense as to why people don't use it that much, especially with how like competitive the spots for the other weapons are when you can only have 3. Alright. One last. I'll play versus Geo a bit after this. Oh yeah, Verdolt, yeah, the one Paladin said. Hey. Oh. Nice. Good fights.
I welcome you.
Healers, light weavers, and frontline. Oh no. Gio's gonna beat my ass. Oh, I should do Speaker instead of that. Lower damage. Oh, oh no. The big healing. Ah no, that's such a bad cooldown. Oh, I have nothing better there. Ah, too slow. Oh my god, close fight, close fight. Pizza, pizza, pizza. Oh wait, 1 sec. Okay, I won't be long. I just gotta reply to something quick. Okay. Her Geo's a retired PvE player. Yeah, well, he's still got it. He's not in his prime, but Geo's cracked. I think during Gloomrot he was like easily the best. I think Whip's not been very favourable to like the way Geo plays with like Reaper heavy, but he's still like definitely one of the best players, and if he was playing a lot, then he would be again. But I mean, most of the top players have quit for now, which is understandable with the state of things. Oh, come on. Hit for 39 now on a Frozen, like, that's so fucked. Oh, no, you had dash still. Oh, no. Oh, it's doomed. Haha. Oh no. Wait, there's a second bomb. Oh, what? Oh, I meant to cancel that. Oops. It's doomed. No, it's not long enough. It's fine. Oh, too slow. Oh, no, no, no. Oh no, it's cleansed! That's cheating! Oh, I didn't cancel. Uh oh, he's full HP again. And I did no damage. Nah. Oof. What? Oh! How was it not long enough at that point? It's crazy. Ah. I was trying to cancel into the in cap. I fucked up. Oh. The legendary quote is coming. Wait, what legendary quote? I'm confused. Ah. Come on. of that. His reaction time's crazy. Go. Like he didn't bite on the bait cast and then does that. No. Ah, close. If I hit that start, it might have been fine. Okay. And he's still got one more iframe, so I can't even hit stuff. That's true. This is so much harder than playing versus a rogue, because, like, it's so much more tanky. Yeah, like, look at that. Oh, no, I can't be proccing that. Parry, no. Ah, doomed. Wait, he got the Q off cooldown still. Ah, waited too long. No crit. Oh, I die. No CDs. Oh, is 1 second on ulti. No, I don't have it on cooldown. Oh, close fight. Oh, but that's what, it's so hard to win versus this. He's so tanky. $18 damage. 18 damage for a greatsword Q. This game's so good. Oh. Wait, what? That didn't stun? Why? Oh no, I'm giving him healing for free doing that. The trouble, I still need to win off of like a hard interaction win. Nah, I messed up. Oh, never mind. Got one more chance. Oh, what? I dashed! Oh, no, no, no. That's a shame. Oh, I fucked up so bad there. But that's true, like, even in that spot, I have to win, like, one interaction solidly to get a combo start. Which, yeah, when he's playing super carefully, it's hard to do. Which he knows how to do very well. That's why he doesn't get hit by many combo starts. Why do you not Reaper Q that? You always Reaper Q. Nah, he's just not doing it. It's a shame. Oh, I was trying to do the Sphery afterwards. Nah. Oh, yeah, I knew he was gonna look for that. I need to try and get out. And it gets removed. There we go. Nice. Salt gun. Wait, that... How did that hit? I'm bad. Oh, there's always another iframe, man. Why? Maybe. Good crit. Sad. Not quite. Oh. Oh, I didn't Q in time. Close, close. Oh, shame. Big combo. shame. That's still, oh god. And he gets another one off in time. Alright, so cute. There it is. Oh, shame. Nearly. Don't have it up. There we go, just about. Ellie. Ah, shame. Oh, that's way too greedy to look for it there. Got it. Ugh. Wait, what? Oh, hard. Oh no. Okay. Wait, I need player, put around that. Thank you. Oh no. Oh, too early, too early. Oh, whoops. Nearly. Oh, for real? Wait, oh shit, did you get reset? Warrior's so tanky, man! Yeah, I think I need to just play better mid-range, maybe. Oh, shame. Trouble is, I just can't take any trade back. Because look, he just healed back that entire trade. Okay. Oh. Ah, no, can't get it. Okay. Oh, what? It didn't quite circle there. Oh, that's so sad. Wait a sec. Oh, God's sake. I didn't realise. I was thinking, like, why aren't I getting stuns off? That's so annoying. Alright. It took me a while to realise, actually. I was thinking, like, I swear that these aren't getting stuns here. It makes a lot of sense now. Okay. No. Oh, nearly. Ellie. No. Oh, come on. 1 HP in a dream. Oh no, okay, I used D as well, that's my bad. Oh no, still has the slash rifle. There we go. I think he had like a 15 win streak feed. Oh, honestly, that Geo's so cracked, man. Also, like, I think he just plays like sustain games just so much better than anyone else. Like, that's the big thing. Like, he knows how to hit dash attacks like really effectively. Like that's the oh no, I was too late on my discharge there. I'm doomed for this one. Nah. Oh sh. Well played, well played. There we go. Just do that early. Oh, I like it, I like it. Going for the style point. Oh, what am I doing? I just gave him that for free. Oh wait, I thought I got a recast on my, what's it called? Oh no. Oh, what? Oh, there was an explosion from something. Whoops. Oh, I think I might have been stood on his dash. Oh, I reacted too slowly there. Oh. No. There we go. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, I'm just too slow on the cast there. No. Oh, you're kidding me? Big damage? No, no, no. I can't charge straight at him. I can't tank across water at that health. Oh, too late on thinking Q. Oh, it's too slow. Oh, you're shitting me. I'm not gonna approach if he just sits there and... Ugh. Oh, nearly. Oh, if I hit that at the end, that's probably lethal. Oh, I didn't flash Q in time. Because he's always going to saw Q there to do the last tick, but... wait, let's do a bit more. This build. It's going to be hard to get anything off through the curtain, but let's give it a go. What? Oh no, you hit that. Oh, he's got a charge auto? Nah. Ah, shame, shame, shame. Nearly. Oh, I thought that was going to be a Reef Q. Ah. Nah, I just lose in this spot. Oh, I don't know. Oh, it's the surgery cast. Oh. I was wondering what that was at one point. Okay, thank God. Ah. It's too fast. He is actually on Rogue now, so it is possible to win through just a big burst combo. But the neutral's still too good to win an interaction very often. Okay. No. There we go. I don't care about getting anything off there. Ah. No, I can't get the response anyway. Oh, and I was too early on that. There we go. Big. a shame. If I just land that. Ah! That's true. It's like, it's harder to get the combo starts versus Rogue, but they don't do as much if you're on Warrior. So it's like, either way, you're in just a really difficult spot. I think overall, the Rogue matchup's easier than Warrior. Oh, see, if I got recast there, that could have even been the kill. Like, that's kind of why it's easier. Oh my god, he actually tried to get that. Oh. Nah, I just lose. There we go. Oh, I didn't think that was going to hit. That's why I went into Slasher instead. Would have been fine. And he's never going to risk aiming that at my. There we go. Oh my god, it's so difficult, man. Oh. Yeah. Always on his surge, he means. Oh, no. No, I haven't timed out yet. It's doomed. Okay, it's fine. That's a good leap. At least get out of the Merc charge. Oh, I was trying to predict dash in and Reaper Q there. No, you just play it safe. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh no, I just get sword queued. This guy! Look at him! Oh, he's so VM! Oh god. I love him. He's got Reaper out already, like. Oh, too slow, too slow. I didn't think he was gonna do that straight after. Oh no. Oh. 4. Okay. Oh no. Maybe. Big healing. It's winnable. Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh, so cute. Wait, what's the time? Right, got to go in AC. Oh, good timing. He tries extra hard on the last one, so I gotta try and win this. Oh no. Oh, I thought I'd just try and throw that out straight away. I don't have anything else other than this. Oh no, I thought he charged that. Alright. GG's.
Salutations.
Oh, nice. It's cool to fight. Long story again. Obviously, I lose a lot, but it's always good for trying to learn. But yeah, thanks for coming to join, guys. Tier list and all that. So next streams is gonna be Supervive playtest. So looking forward to that, and I understand a lot of you might be V-Rising only, but if you do want to come check out Supervive, I recommend it, because if you like stunlock stuff, it is a very similar kind of vibe. It's good fun. But yeah, thanks for joining, guys. I'll see you around. Bye bye.